I'd like to remind the House that the movie that was being watched at the beginning of this ceremony was prepared by Community Online. Can we have a round of applause? You're all able to watch that video on their website. Okay, I'm pleased to now call upon stage the Deputy Secretaries General of THIMUN 2018. Firstly, Ms. Saskia Bausch, you now have the floor.
President, directors, student officers, delegates, and guests. As usual, the past 5 days have flown by. These 5 days of lobbying, debating, and discussing important world issues always seem to go by so fast. And although it has been 11 years since I first moved to The Hague, my time here has also been a blur. THIMUN has been a huge part of my family for almost 10 years. I am the youngest child of 4, and I wanted to add my own personal touch to my family's MUN, so I applied for a position on the Secretariat, which I am so honored and proud to have received. I am happy to say that I've set my own goals, independent to my siblings, and achieved them. The theme of this year's conference was building civil society through education. I, as I'm sure most of you also do, care very strongly about the future and how certain things in our daily lives need to change in order to achieve a sustainable and hopeful future for the generations to come. I hope that over the course of this week, you have found ways to use education as a means to change our future. Although I only saw flashes of debate, I could see interest and meaning in what each delegate was saying, which is vital in learning about the perspectives of other countries and the solutions to complex issues. I will be flying out of the Netherlands in 2 days, where I'll be moving to Australia and I will be beginning a new school in just 6 days. I remember saying in my interview for this position that I wanted to give back to the MUN community. This is the community which has taught me so much about the United Nations, how to write and speak professionally, as well as growing my confidence and inspiring me. I've changed so much as a result from MUN, and I've been so lucky to experience this by living in such an international community. I hope that you have also experienced THIMUN in the same wonderful way that I have, and I'm so glad that this was how I spent my last week in The Hague. I have been so fortunate with the dedicated Secretariat, Board of Directors, and team of student officers I have worked with this year, as well as being able to visit a conference in such a building as the World Forum. So on behalf of the Secretariat, we would like to thank all of the World Forum staff for their hard work, helpfulness, and their dedication to making this THIMUN a great one. I would like to tell you that you, the delegates, the presidents and deputies, the admins in front of you, are the next generation. And you are the people who will take up positions of world leaders or leaders of NGOs. And I hope that you have been inspired through this conference to take the next steps and make a positive change in our joint future. Thank you. I yield my time back to the president.
Ms. Sofia Fortas de la Cerda, you now have the floor.
Madam Secretary General, Mr. President of the General Assembly, esteemed student officers and Secretariat, honorable delegates, dear directors, and valued administrative staff. Earlier this week, Mrs. Pauline Krikke, Mayor of the City of The Hague, mentioned in her speech that education is the gateway to self-improvement, that education creates responsible citizens, that education builds civil society. Nonetheless true, 14% of the world's citizens are illiterate, which translates roughly to 1,063,851,523 people deprived of education. Those of us that recognize this statistic are those of us that can change it. The 3,300 of us gathered here this week, and the tens of thousands of us that have come together along these 50 years of THIMUN have the power, the obligation, and the responsibility to change the world. Yet this can only happen by doing one thing, by regaining our higher moral ground, by questioning the political causes of poverty, of illiteracy, of injustice, of illness, and of those deprived of education, rather than closing our eyes towards the problems we face. We can't play the game of accommodation with those that wish to conserve the status quo. that deny the issues striking our world. Alleviating the worst of human suffering, most literally, with emergency aid and other methods of medical assistance may help heal the cause and its casualties, yet they do not cure it. We often confuse the suffering with its root, be it political, economic, or social, and so we fail to act upon it. This cannot withstand. We, the pioneers of education and civil society, must be the ones to take this into our own hands, developing and changing ideals and mindsets, both of others and our own. THIMUN inspires youth, it inspires change, inspires revolution. Those fostering this education, teachers and UN directors present here today deserve a special thanks on behalf of the Secretariat for all their efforts both before and throughout the conference. We must be the ones to act towards change, to eliminate the causes of suffering, not alleviate them, and to provide sustainable life and education for all, not just ourselves. We must learn to love, not hate, to consider those around us, those further from us, those that share this world from us, in a life free of indifference. It is up to us to look for alternative ways of working, to challenge and to construct the future. Look through the world with a wider lens, expand your horizons, and lend your perspectives to others, as we fight for a civil world, a civil society for us all, citizens of the global village. Kofi Annan, former Secretary General of the United Nations, once said, "More than ever before in human history, we share a common destiny. We can master it only if we face it together." And that, my friends, is why we have the United Nations. And that's just the way that Model United Nations works. It is more than an activity, it's a life-changing opportunity for all of us gathered here today and those that were gathered along these 50 years, as a collective, not individuals. We work together as we face the future head-on and make of it what we can. THIMUN has given us the tools to build civil society. Now it is up to us to decide what to do with them. Thank you. I yield my time.
Distinguished members of the Secretariat, student officers, esteemed members of the board, honorable advisors, delegates, administrative staff, and guests. We have sadly come to an end of an amazing experience. Looking back 5 years into the seats where I once sat, it is shocking but also fulfilling to see how many years have gone by in the blink of an eye. First of all, I would like to thank the members of the THIMUN Board of Directors and the THIMUN Advisory Board for their never-ending cooperation and mutual correspondence we have with them, starting all the way from October until the very moment just before the closing ceremony. They have been the people who we can talk to with any problem we faced throughout the week. They not only were our teachers who guided us through this challenging journey, but our role models as well, with their diligence, hard work, and commitment towards changing the world for the better. I would also like to thank Ms. Kaiser and the conference management team for your hospitality to us, the Secretariat, in your office up in Bolger, and bearing with us through our countless requests. We couldn't have functioned without you. In my motivation letter, when I applied to the position of DSG, I wrote some sentences regarding both my expectations and my knowledge about the position. I would like to state that I'm fully aware of how challenging this position really is. I realize now that I have no clue whatsoever. After that, I continued. Like every conference ever done, there will be problems. However, this time, hopefully, I will be the part of the team in charge of solving it. As a team player myself, I believe that we are stronger together. And together, I do not believe there is anything that we cannot accomplish or any task we cannot overcome. I was truly privileged and lucky to be a part of a team in charge of solving anything that went wrong in the conference, which happens to be a team comprised of 6 different nationalities and in which 10 different languages are being spoken. We have been stronger together, and there was no issue that we could not overcome through dedication and hard work. So thank you again, Sophia, Saskia, Sinan, Aditya, Adi, and Mariam. I couldn't have done anything without you guys. THIMUN itself and Model UN in general has taught me many things, but the most important thing of all, it taught me to cherish diversity instead of disregarding it, to look for hope in the darkest times, and to challenge yourself to the best you can be. Global politics faces increasing complexities in such global problems as conflict, poverty, and sustainability. There is no better gateway to understanding these complexities than alongside the people around you in a UN conference, and especially in THIMUN. After my commitment to THIMUN for 5 consecutive years, it's hard to say goodbye now, as my 9-year-long Model UN journey has come to an end, with more than 25 conferences down the line. I want to thank all my Turkish student officer family who have been through this journey with me. Aykan, Sinan, Emir Gökçen, Memo, Nazan, Sarah. The bond we have is truly exceptional and will truly be cherished for years to come. Last but not the least, I would like to thank the 2 people who are responsible for me delivering this speech on this very stage, Didem and Seçil, who also happen to be the 2 people who have been teaching students to live up to the globalist ideals. I couldn't have done this without you. For people who will be attending the 51st session of THIMUN, always remember to keep the THIMUN spirit alive and to strive to always be the best you can. You don't get the possibility to inspire people very often, so take these opportunities to the best of your ability. For the last time, in The Hague, under the roof of Willem-Alexander Hall of the World Forum, I yield the floor to the President of the General Assembly.
A genuine leader is not a searcher for consensus, but a molder of consensus. Martin Luther King Jr. Good evening, Mr. President, Madam Secretary General, THIMUN Board of Directors, Secretariat, student officers, MUN directors and advisors, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Aditya Rathi. I study in Dubai International Academy and I served as one of the Deputy Secretary Generals for THIMUN 2018. As already mentioned by my fellow DSGs, it is an honor and absolute privilege for me to be serving in this position. The last few days have been one of the most remarkable in my life so far, and with experiences, memories, and all of the Snapchat IDs, I'm sure I've made numerous lifelong friends. Building civil society through education was a very vibrant theme this year, and the entire team believed that this unique theme can foster distinct, far-reaching, and electrifying ideas that would make real, tangible differences in the world. The last 5 days of debate have centered around this international story, but now I want to tell you briefly about another story. My MUN journey. I heard my calling into MUN about 4 years ago. One day, after school, all I really wanted to do was go home and watch a few of Sinan's YouTube channel videos, which by the way are surprisingly entertaining. But my sister had other plans. She wanted to stay back in school and attend the MUN after school session. We both had to go home at the same time, so I had to attend this MUN thing. And honestly, I've never been happier to be in school. In the next few years, I took on every MUN opportunity that came my way. And now, I am here at THIMUN's 50th annual session as the Deputy Secretary General. Not only did this conference help me create one of the best memories of my life, I also got the opportunity to work along with my great secretary. This adventure also gave me the opportunity to meet my first monarch, eat my first sushi, and meet some exceptional young delegates and student officers. Everyone has played an integral part in making of this conference, but my special thanks is for the press team that has consistently pushed out papers in the morning and online. The team of Unity and Unity Online, as well as the tens of reporters, writers, and photographers that have spent their days highlighting your MUN journey. Truly a thank you from the Secretariat. Thank you to everyone that has participated in THIMUN 50. You helped make this the 50th annual session. And on behalf of the Secretariat and the THIMUN team, once again, thank you. I now give my time to the President.
Thank you, Mr. Raki, for that wonderful speech. Mr. Sinan Arun, you now have the floor.
Honorable delegates and advisors, fellow members of the executive team, distinguished officers, and most importantly, dear friends. Participating in the 4 years of THIMUN has allowed me to observe the wonderful legacy THIMUN holds, its well-deserved reputation, and most importantly, its impressive progress. It's not a surprise to see THIMUN celebrating its 50th birthday, since it's built on such a strong foundation. While I express immense gratitude for those who have guided me into this journey, I also would like to thank everyone who has contributed in the organization of this year's conference. The Secretariat, who you may have never seen throughout the whole conference, were in the Secretariat room all day printing and organizing resolution meetings. This conference wouldn't have run as smoothly as it did if it wasn't for Leonard and his team's hard work. Also, I would like to thank the whole admin staff for helping the student officers and the delegates for their tireless work throughout the week with only one thing in mind, making every committee session magnificent. With organized collaboration guided by our Secretary General Marian, THIMUN has once again successfully surpassed the standards set previously, thus continuing steadily in its path to perfection. As the Secretariat, we knew our path was not going to be easy, but with teamwork, we managed to surpass it all. Not only this, but spending a week, which seemed like an hour in The Hague for the past 4 years, has also shaped my personality immensely. Imagine dedicating yourself to an international organization which exposes oneself to diverse and inspirational ideas and doing this for your own development. That's what THIMUN provided for me. Not just friends from UAE, Germany, the Netherlands, Portugal, or Turkey, but a space where I can express my ideas in freedom. Lastly, you all made this conference astonishing and truly the best that I have ever attended. For the last time in my time in history, I yield the floor to the President of the General Assembly.